Hey everyone, this is Jeremiah with Svaren Web Studio. So I'm coming at you just a few days, potentially, from a giant-ish update from Google. Now, I don't know if you've heard anything about this Core Web Vitals update that's going to be happening with Google here on May 2021, but it's been in the works for a few months now, maybe about 6 months. A lot of people in the community kind of saw something like this coming. There's always been hearsay that Google puts importance to your speed of your website into ranking higher on Google. Well, now they're going to make it official. And in this video, I'm going to kind of go through what Core Web Vitals are, how it'll affect your Squarespace website, and how, what can you do? Can you do anything? Can we do anything? Because Squarespace has the control of everything that's in the back end, but you do have some control over, images and what's loaded. So there are a few things that I'm going to go over with you in this video, and hopefully it'll help you not lose your mind and lose your ranking in the Google Search Console when this update happens. Now, it'll probably roll out slowly. Maybe. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they'll just break the internet. But it's supposed to happen May 2021. They didn't say what day, but we can probably assume it'll start rolling out May 1st. And, you can already do a lot of things right now to improve your core web vitals, as they call it. And we're going to go through all that in this video right here. So hopefully this will be helpful for you. So will your Squarespace site suffer? So first things first, what are Core Web Vitals? So it's, first of all, how quickly the page loads. So how quickly the first, above the fold section loads on your website. So, if somebody clicks on your search result in Google, how long does it take? You want that to take less than 2.5 seconds ideally for it to load. And then the next main metric is how quickly can the user interact with the page after the page is loaded, or since after they've clicked on the link, So that's, sometimes I'm sure you've experienced when you go to click on a site and, you want to scroll down or exactly where you want to go, but it takes a while to get there. You want to minimize that time that they have to wait for the page to load. And then the third major thing is how stable is the page while the user is interacting with it. So this is a number of things. For example, do things shift around while they're scrolling down? If they type into a form to hit submit, do things move around and they have a hard time clicking the submit button? Do things pop in and pop out and, change what your website looks like as they're scrolling through? Basically the stability of the page. How easy is it to use after it loads and while it's loading? So those are the kind of the main overview. I won't go really into super detailed weeds yet. We'll kind of get into that here shortly, but that's mainly what you need to know is basically how fast is it? Think about when you're a user on the other end and you're wanting a page to load quickly because first of all, maybe you're on 4G and you only got 2 bars and the internet's kind of slow, and then this website is taking even longer and you need to know, how do I change my faucet handle so it stops squeaking? I don't know, something crazy like that. You want it to load quickly because you're in a hurry. Time is money. So how does Google test for these things? How do they know how fast your website is? Well, there's a couple things they do. They use real user test data from Chrome, the web browser. So this is from mobile Chrome browsers and also desktop Chrome browsers. So when people are on your website in the Chrome browser, Chrome is digesting all that information to, they're tracking and measuring all sorts of things in that browser when they're on your website. They're seeing how fast did it load, how fast were they able to interact with it, was it, fast on mobile, was it easy to use, interactive, all the things we just talked about. So that's one way. And then the other thing is they use testing tools, lab testing tools. One of them is called the Lighthouse. That is their main testing tool. And this can also help you as the designer or developer or, person creating your Squarespace website. You can use these lab tools to actually test and see, well, what do I need to work on? What do I need to improve? But at the end of the day, the most important thing that Google follows is the user test data. So they specifically use real world data. So your lab results may be different than your real world data, and the real user data is going to be what wins out. And you can actually see what Google sees also in the Google Search Console, which we'll go over here next. So how do you know how your site's doing? How do you know if Google's happy with it, if your users are happy with it? That's kind of another thing, but if Google thinks your users are happy with it, so you use Google Search Console, which is at search.google.com/search-console, or if you just go to Google and type in Search Console, you can set up the Google Search Console there. If you have not already set this up, then you will not have a lot of data to play with because it takes about a month for you to get good data, so long as your website is getting adequate number of visitors using the Chrome browser, which is why I would suggest using Chrome to play around with your website on mobile and desktop, although I kind of despise the Chrome browser and use Firefox. But if you want real data, use the Chrome browser. So this is what it looks like inside the Google Search Console. And you can see here on the left, we've got Core Web Vitals highlighted, and it'll tell you what it looks like on mobile and desktop. So it'll tell you, do you have good URLs? Do they need improvement? Do you have poor URLs that need attention? And then you can go into the report and you can look at this. So this will ultimately tell you if you are doing a good job in their eyes. Now, what's kind of interesting is if you can kind of see this bounces up and down. You can kind of keep an eye on this. Sometimes something happens, or your website gets updated, or you add something to your website and suddenly a URL a page is no longer in the good standing. Now, this is interesting. So on the left-hand side is Squarespace 7.0, which is the older version of Squarespace. And then we've got Squarespace 7.1 on the right-hand side. Now, 7.1 is the newer version of Squarespace. And, there's been a lot of hearsay that it's kind of, they kind of slipped up a little bit in a few things. And in one of these is clearly the real user data of how good these URLs are. So on the left-hand side, we've got 7.0. This is real world data from two of my clients. So one of my clients is on 7.0 and the other one is on 7.1. And you can see it's like a night and day difference. And, there's not a lot of desktop usage, but I know that if it's poor on mobile, it's more than likely going to be pretty poor on desktop. It might be okay, but it's just very interesting that 7.0 just is night and day different between 7.0 and 7.1. Now, the lab data shows a slightly different scenario. So this is where you need to look at both things and put more weight on the real world data, on the real user data, because that's what Google is going to in turn assess and determine your ranking factor. So this is really interesting. So 7.0, the performance is apparently lacking compared to 7.1. We've got a score of 25 on performance versus a score of 45 in performance in 7.1. Now, I found this interesting because the 7.0 site actually loads faster in all speed tests on GTmetrix or Page Speed Insights. It loads way faster than the 7.1. Now, you can see that the lab just like totally has different context. So you can see here in 7.1 in the first contentful paint, right around the halfway mark in that picture there, we've got 2.6 seconds. So we are just a hair over what needs to be for Core Web Vitals to be happy. Now, interestingly, the 7.0 site is 5.7. Now, in my experience testing this, it's not like that at all. So this is where the lab data is wildly different than the real world user data, but it's still something to be addressed, and you can still use the lab data to figure out what the heck's going on. So let's dig in here. Let's actually look at something. So if you want to see the lab data, what you're going to want to do is go to web.dev, and that'll take you to the home page, and it'll say, hey, measure my site, or you can go to web.dev/measure I'll leave links to all this stuff in the description below. And you can enter your URL here and run an audit, and it'll pull this information here. And you can kind of go through here and see what the heck is going on. Now, right off the bat, this really doesn't tell you a whole lot, doesn't tell you exactly what you need to know, but if you click View Report, then what that'll do is actually bring up the Lighthouse report, and it'll open this big honking thing in a new page. Now, this gets a little overwhelming if you're not used to this, if you've never seen this before. But what you can do is you can look in here and you can expand these so that it kind of explains to you what everything is in here a little bit more. But if you look in here and you see, so the top of the line is going to be the thing that you need to focus on first. So eliminate render blocking resources. So in here, this is the kind of frustrating part with Squarespace right now. It's a lot of the stuff you don't really have a lot of control over. So these are Squarespace resources that are being loaded in. They're CSS and JavaScript that are being loaded in above the header. Now, for some of you, you might be, what the heck is a header and what are you talking about? JavaScript, I don't understand. So these are all things that help create the web page and make things happen on your web page. And you don't really have a lot of control over when these things load. Now, I do believe that there are some things that we could do to make these things load later, but you risk kind of breaking some things on your site. And you never know if an update happens with Squarespace, if in the future you're really screwing things up. So you can't really do a whole lot about this, which is really sucky, because we would estimate to save 3.5 seconds. That's insane. That's a lot of time. Now, Squarespace says they're working on this. They say that this is a major importance for them. They're working on it, but of course, they don't have a timeline because, if any of you are in the tech world, you know that you can't really put a timeline on these things because you think it's going to take this long, and then something comes up, and then you got to go have another cup of coffee and figure it out. So, what can we do? Can we do anything to improve our load times? There are some things we can do. Which we're going to go to next year. So the next thing is, if you have any scripts in here running, so like I have Hotjar running, which is a tool that tracks users' movements, and you can create a heat map. Now I have that running. It's pulling a little bit of data in there. I could probably move that to the footer maybe. Now you can also improve your images. This says to preload the largest content print images, but that's not very easy to do in Squarespace. You can upload your images in next-gen formats, but this is kind of tricky because not all browsers recognize the WebP format. I think they do recognize the JPEG 2000, but I'm not 100% on that. Also, sometimes it's kind of hard to load these images into Squarespace. Now, what you can do is you can make sure that all of your images are properly sized and minified. Now, if you need help optimizing your images, I will link up somewhere around here a link to a video that I created all about how to optimize your images for Squarespace. You can do it on any computer. Super easy to do. It takes a little bit of time, but totally worth it. Now, that doesn't solve the next-gen format issue. I almost say don't bother going next-gen, just because it's kind of you may leave some users out on the dust. So another thing you can do is properly size images. So you can upload an image to the appropriate size. Now, what's kind of interesting is with Squarespace, they actually load different size images based on the size of the image, off the size of the device that the person is using. So some of this you can do, like I don't need a 1,000 pixel wide image for this image because it's a smaller image. It's not taking up like a background image. It's a pretty small image. Now people will suffer if they are on like a retina, a bit widescreen retina display. The picture might look a little crummy, which again, this is all kind of, you're playing toss up here, but we could potentially save a good bit of size there. So next up, if you have any CSS that's unused, but again, this is like minor. This is nothing. Most of this is being lifted by Squarespace. Squarespace is in control of all this. But again, what I find very interesting is if we look at, this is the lab data for a 7.0 Squarespace site. Now, if we look at the real world page experience on mobile, so if you go to Google Search Console, on the left-hand side here, you've got page experience. Start out here, 100% good. Good URLs, 100%. Like, it's beautiful. Everything's running great. Core Web Vitals, no issues detected. Mobile usability, no issues detected. No issues detected. Using HTTPS, don't have to worry about ads. If I click in through here, you can see there was a moment where, hey, where'd you go? Where some URLs needed improvement. I don't even remember if I had to do anything for this. I feel like it fixed itself, or I just reran it. I think it was kind of just a fluke thing. But everything is good. All the URLs are loading fast or loading fine. So this is a very interesting phenomenon where you've got the real world page experience happening fine. Everything's great. It's saying that everything's fine. But if you go to the lab data, it says another picture. So this is something that's kind of interesting. And Squarespace kind of talks about this a little bit. And they say, oh, well, Google measures these things differently than, they don't know how to read websites using a CMS, a content management system. But I said it's a load of hooey because they measure WordPress sites just fine. And they know whether a website is loading fast or not. Now, ultimately, what matters is that these scores are good, that your page experience is good. Now, on my Squarespace 7.1 site, it's a totally different story. It's like shockingly disappointing. So again, 7.1 site, the performance is a 45. Great, right? Awesome. We're doing better than the 7.0, right? But it's a totally different story. And like we're doing everything else okay. Best practices, there's some things in here we could improve. SEO and accessibility were like top notch. And if we go drill into the report here, then we can see here, like, look at that. It shows that it's even loading the picture faster and then the 7.0 site here. So you can see that how it in the lab, how it loads on the mobile device. But again, if we go to the unused JavaScript, this is our largest offender right here. Squarespace, when are you getting this together, man? So most of these are from Squarespace. Now, granted, I can say, screw you, Facebook. I'm going to put you in the footer, or I'm just going to remove you because I don't like you. I could get rid of Hotjar, or only install Hotjar when I, want to run a test when we're testing different layouts. I could improve the Google Tag Manager and reduce these things down to 1. That would probably be a good idea. Now, is this going to be game changer? No. I mean, look at this. This is the Squarespace assets are huge. Now, one of these is for a pop-up overlay, which is what we're running right now for a new location. It's probably also for, I'd have to look into this if it's for the cookie banner at the bottom as well. These are huge. Huge. Why? Why do they have to do that? Hopefully they're fixing this. They say they are. Now, the next thing is eliminate render blocking resources. So this is, we're using a special font, and so that is pulling in a little bit. But again, 780 milliseconds. I know it all adds up in the end, but Squarespace is pulling in their CSS code here, and there's only a few lines of CSS. Do I need to minify the CSS? I don't know, potentially. Or load it in the footer. That would probably be okay. Again, this is the custom CSS, I believe, that Squarespace is loading in here. And next up, we got the serve images and next-gen formats again. So this is an image-heavy page. I'm not gonna lie, it could probably use some condensing there. I could probably go in and optimize these images a little bit more. I'm probably going to work on that, and I will do an update video of me going through and trying to crank these scores up as much as I can. It's going to be an uphill battle, though. I'm going to keep you posted on that, though. So if you want to see the next video, make sure you subscribe, and you'll be able to learn when that happens. Hit the bell, I guess. I don't care. Just come back here. And when we hit 1,000 subscribers, then I'm going to be doing a free Squarespace website. So the next thing is properly sized images. Yes, I know, again, the images could probably be optimized here a little bit more, but I don't think it was going to have that big of a difference compared to the JavaScript. But we shall see. We shall see. Now, this is interesting. It says to efficiently encode images. Now, again, optimize the images, but I could have swore I did this on this. I don't know. Maybe not. This says I could potentially save a few kilobytes, so that would be good. Again, the removed unused CSS. Interesting. So, something that is happening here, because we are using a custom font from Typekit from Adobe, I'm pretty sure, or I can't remember now. It's been a while since I made this site. We're not using a Squarespace font, though. We are using a custom loaded font to match the brand style, the brand guidelines. And so that kind of screws things up here. As you can see, the text doesn't load right away. And especially, that it's kind of interesting to think about that. Even if the text loaded first, the background image makes it so that you can see the text because the text is white. Could probably do something different there. This is saying, hey, you need to reduce the impact of third-party code. Well, most of the third-party code is from Squarespace. Now, Facebook can suck it because they are pulling 42 milliseconds here, and Google Analytics is pulling 25 milliseconds. Now, Google does not favor Google Analytics. They don't look the other way. They look at it just the same as anything else. As if it's slowing down the user experience, then they're gonna pull it. So, Hotjar is pulling 21 seconds. Adobe Typekit says it's not pulling any seconds, but it is pulling some resources. Google Tag Manager, again, same thing. So what does this all mean? It means that there is not a lot you can do, but let's look at the real world data. So this is just horrific. Your site has no URLs with a good page experience. This is Squarespace 7.1. This is their baby. This is, what they're touting as the greatest thing. Now, I will say, design-wise, they look great. But I think that they're focusing on the wrong thing. They're trying to make the building experience better. They keep changing everything in the background there. I get that they're probably different teams, but they need to focus on getting this up to snuff right away. If they don't, people are going to be leaving Squarespace and going to something different. I'm honestly considering moving my SvarenWebStudio.com over to WordPress with a super fast WordPress theme called Carbonate. I'll leave a link in the description for that. It's the fastest WordPress theme ever. Problem is, if you are a DIYer, it's going to be totally different, and it's going to be hard for you to learn because you do have to know some CSS and a little bit of HTML. And it's going to be a steeper learning curve. But if I can get my website to load faster, then I won't be suffering the wrath of Google here shortly. So we can see here that the page experience signals Core Web Vitals, 13 failed URLs. I'm pretty sure that's all of them. So you could just see, we're just sitting here at poor. You need to fix this. So the content loading is more than 2.5 seconds. So it's just telling you, hey, all of these URLs are loading slow. Now, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to fix these things up. And then when I'm done fixing it, I'm going to come back here and say validate fix. And I'm going to hope that I can squeeze it under there. I mean, hey, if this says that the first content paint is 2.6 seconds, maybe I can get there. But the time to interact is 12.8 seconds. That's a long time. Can you imagine sitting there for 12.8 seconds? Going, can I look? Can I scroll yet? Can I do anything here? This is just a joke. I don't think that you should have to worry about this if you're building a Squarespace website. I think that it should just be fast out of the gate. But I digress. Okay, so that's the main issue. Let's see here. Where'd you go? Okay, so they're also saying that I need to improve these here. So this is LCP is the, oh my goodness, the content paint. Okay, yes. So right here, 2.8 seconds is how long it's saying it's taking. So as they say here, it marks the time in which the largest text or images is painted. So that's probably like this whole background image, or maybe it's all this text right here. We can dig into the Chrome tool, Chrome Dev tools, but I don't want to confuse you by going real deep in the weeds here. Again, if you want to learn more about this, I'll leave links in the description for all of this so you can go deeper, because it is a long rabbit hole that just keeps going. Are you screwed as a Squarespace user? I don't know yet. They say they're working on it. It really makes me nervous that we're TikToking our way to May 2021 when this Google Core Web Vitals update is happening. And they're only going to get stricter about this. Now, depending on where you're getting your traffic from, this may not be a problem. If you are mostly getting your website traffic from social media or from paid social media ads or from YouTube, from Pinterest, you may not have to worry about this. But if you're getting a majority of your traffic from Google, from organic traffic, people typing in, something near me, or people typing in questions and your article pops up, then you may have to worry about this. And I am slightly worried about this, honestly. This morning I was going through and reading the forums on Squarespace and seeing other people kind of freaking out also, because, we can only do so much. The power is not in our hands because we're not the back-end developers for our Squarespace site. We can only affect so much. So, I don't know. It's very interesting that the Squarespace 7.0 is doing better in real-world data than the 7.1, which, hey, I guess it's a good thing if you didn't update to 7.1. And you can still make a Squarespace 7.0 site, but how much longer is that going to be an option? And, are they also improving the 7.0 stack for this new update, or are they only focusing on 7.1? These are all questions that we're not getting answers for. They're not telling us. This is not something that they're going to say until it's done. And even then, I don't know. Are they going to mention anything about it? Because here's what the update would be like. Hey, this is Squarespace. We just made our website faster like it should have been this whole time. That doesn't sound like a very good press release. I don't know. Maybe they'll be a little bit more PR friendly. But it's going to be something that kind of happens quietly, because so far it has been happening quietly. They're giving canned answers as like, oh, well, make sure that you optimize your images and, see our article on increasing your site speed. And it's like, okay, but that does not do everything. That's a little tiny drop in the ocean. So I don't know. I'm slightly frustrated. Squarespace, me and Squarespace kind of just have this relationship where it's kind of a love-hate thing, because on the one hand, you can design beautiful sites. The ability to hand them off to somebody to manage and to not have to worry about updating plugins and themes, and you don't have to worry about your site getting hacked. But there's a number of things that Squarespace has going wrong for it, and one of these is their site speed and their transparency around how they're improving this, and are they improving 7.0, 7.1? Another issue is Squarespace goes down pretty consistently. I got my phone set up so I get text messages whenever something goes wrong, and there's not a week that goes by where I don't get one or two texts saying that something is down and that they're fixing it. Now, usually it's pretty quick that they resolve it, but there's been times in the past year it's probably crashed for a good few hours, maybe 2 to 3 times, and now my dog wants to go out, so I guess this video is ending. Needless to say, Squarespace needs to work on this. If anybody at Squarespace sees this, please let us know. Is this going to happen? Are we going to see an update? If you have a Squarespace website and you need help improving the things that you can improve, then let me know. Hit me up. Go to my website. Send us a contact form, and we'll help you out. We can start with an audit for like $50 and just see where you're at. If you want to move to WordPress from Squarespace, if you decide that you're done with Squarespace, then let us know also, and we can make that happen, and we can move you to the fastest WordPress theme on the market, Carbonate. Link in the description below. All right, that's it, everyone. My dog is getting antsy here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for the next video update of the Core Web Vitals. And are we going to make it? I hope so. Bye.